Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw News Brief. Quick reminder, tonight we're going to be doing our SmackDown recap right after SmackDown. So head over to the twitch.tv/Steven Larson to check that out. Also, yesterday, the numbers don't lie. We got the score for Scott Steiner, and it's almost through divine intervention. We had the perfect score for Scott Steiner. If you want to find out what that is, I mean, I posted it publicly on our Twitter, but if you want to watch the episode on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Also, we're coming down to the end of the month. So if you want your Friendo care package, I'm looking around because I'm trying to find one, but I don't have one right next to me. It's a comic book, a bunch of stickers, $20 on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Let's get into the news. Larson, what's going on?
This is something. I didn't really expect this, but I guess depending on one's perspective, it makes sense. So we've all been assuming that Hangman Page was going to win the AEW title from Kenny Omega in the main event of All Out. It seemed a certainty.
Yeah, man.
And then Wednesday, they had Page and Dark Order lose to the Elite. So, we always thought there's some, story devices they can employ to have the match happen again. What, according to Dave Meltzer, apparently it's just not happening because he's part of at least not happening at All Out. Meltzer notes that, quote, at one point it was the plan, but plans change, and mentions that commentary was bringing up Christian as a potential title contender during his match at Fight for the Fallen. Meltzer also adds, quote, they've done angles to where they could do Cage and Eddie Kingston both against Omega, but Christian feels to Meltzer, not me, like a match for a major Dynamite, and Kingston could headline a pay-per-view, but with the additions, maybe it's a TV match as well. You could assume that the apparent addition of CM Punk to the AEW roster could be motivating some creative changes for All Out, considering it is in Chicago. And if early ticket sales for Rampage, the first day entry indication, fans are indeed eager to see Punk return. WrestleTix, which is a great Twitter account. If you're in any way interested about wrestling ticket sales, WrestleTix is great. They update ticket sales really regularly. It's awesome. WrestleTix mentioned that, quote, AEW sold more than 10,000 tickets today so far for the first dance at the United Center, and this is during the pre-sale, just a pre-sale. The general on sale is going down Monday. So I'm hoping this is the case where they see this, All Out probably being Punk's first match back in Chicago. They don't want that to overshadow anything else, like major story beats they got going on. And so they're pushing Kenny versus Page to maybe the New York show, at Arthur Ashe Stadium a month later, or later that month, and have the title change there.
That could be.
I don't see any scenario where Hangman Page is not the person who beats Kenny Omega.
There can't be. There can't be.
Yeah.
There's a couple things at play here. You could be right in that they might think that Punk's first match back would overshadow things. I feel like his first appearance, which is going to be 2 weeks earlier, would be the thing that everybody sort of holds on to. That's going to be the big moment. And I mentioned this in a tweet today. AEW fans love AEW stuff. I kind of feel like unless they had, and the rumor right now, or the report is that Daniel Bryan won't show up until the Arthur Ashe show. If he were to show up, let's say they did Hangman versus Kenny at All Out, and afterwards Bryan Danielson shows up, that would totally overshadow the moment. But if the last thing you do is Hangman winning the title, that's going to be the thing. That's going to be, because AEW fans love their AEW stuff. The highest rated stuff in AEW is AEW stuff. Like the week that Hangman and Kenny Omega confronted each other the first time in ages, that was the highest rated thing in the quarter hours, in the quarter hour breakdowns. So in the Young Bucks regularly, dominate their ratings in the quarter hour. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't think Punk's first match would be as big a deal as Punk's first appearance, where he's probably going to drop a pipe bomb, or something like it. So I don't think that's a big concern. But yeah, it's got Kenny is beating himself all to hell. He can't be the belt collector for very much longer. I mean, I could be wrong about that, But like at this pace, it seems like he is like really going up. Like he's going to be at Homecoming, I think, isn't he?
No, he's a match at Homecoming.
There's going to be a battle royal at Homecoming to determine the number one contender. I think.
For Emergence, which is August 21st.
Okay.
But then the weekend before that,
he's got Triple Mania.
It's Triple Mania, but I think Emergence is one of those is an Impact Plus show that's taped in advance, so that won't be live.
Okay. All right.
And then Kenny will have a title defense at All Out.
Yeah.
That's a couple weeks after, 3 weeks after Triple Mania.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he has that, and then if they do the title change with Paige at the New York show on the 22nd, that's another 2 weeks.
The thing about that, though, if Bryan Danielson is supposed to make his AEW debut at the Arthur Ashe show, I kind of feel like that would overshadow, like that potentially could overshadow.
So then they could potentially wait till Full Gear, which is in November, early November.
And maybe they just think, hey, maybe they think right now this belt collector thing, the Super Elite thing, is so hot that it's crescendoing and you need to strike a little bit later. They think maybe this was the end of the second act and you need a longer third act to get him there, which could culminate in November. They have gone, I went over Hangman's IMDb, his Pro Fight DB. Yeah, look at all the movies he's been in. And the last 2021 has not been a very significant. I mean, it's been a lot. I mean, he had a feud with the Hardy Family Office. There was a lot of backstage talkie segments with the Dark Order, and he had a brief thing with
Cage.
With Cage, with Team Taz. It hasn't been the greatest build back up. That being said, people popped huge for him coming back out, and they popped huge for him in his official Dark Order capacity. I hope whatever is delaying this is because, hey, they've realized we need a couple more significant steps to make this even bigger and not so easy as it just being him. He goes away, he sulks, he comes back, he's stronger. I do feel like storyline-wise, Hangman's story needs a couple more wrinkles. It needs to show him building back up to the point where he can kick out of a one-winged angel. I don't know what that entails. AEW gets the benefit of the doubt because they're so good at storytelling.
Yep, agreed. It'll happen at some point, though. It's going to happen.
I would think it's going to happen in 2021, right? It's got to happen this year. Otherwise, they do kind of risk. I mean, if he just got
waiting too long.
Worst case scenario is they put him back in the Dark Order backstage for 6 more months, and he sulks more, and then they do it next year at Double or Nothing.
That's waiting too long, though.
It's waiting too long, and it's not good storytelling.
You mentioned crescendos, and I think that's what you need is crescendoing at the right moment, you know?
You often bring up, when you look at a perfect build of a babyface, you bring up Stone Cold Steve Austin. If you look at his IMDb, his Pro Fight DB from 97, man, they had him dancing with main eventers, but never really coming out on top. They had that great Bret Hart match, obviously, the WrestleMania one. But
they had a whole real elongated program.
He was doing a lot of stuff. He was referencing his past by feuding with Pillman. He had the great stuff with Owen Hart. They had him weaving in and out of all sorts of stuff. The Rock, they had him weaving in and out of all sorts of stuff, and that's kind of what you want to build your dude if he's going to be the cornerstone, and I think that's what they want to do with Hangman. Mm-hmm. They just need to take some more definitive steps with him and weave him in and out of storylines.
So if they wait till Full Gear, that'll be a year since Kenny beat him in their last one-on-one bout in the Eliminator Tournament final.
What would be the Revolution would be 2 would it be 2 years or 1 year?
2 years after their match against the Young Bucks.
After their match against the Young Bucks, which is where Kenny, left. And that's Revolution's February, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if they really tell some really great stories with him between now and February, I could see that being like that's sort of the latest date that they should tell that story. But AEW love their symmetry in their storytelling. They love the callbacks. We saw it this past week in the elimination when Kenny uses first and unsuccessfully the tag title to try to hit Hangman, and then successfully the AEW title to hit Hangman. You can't tell me that wasn't planned, because it's not like he was using the the tag championships for that. They like their storytelling down to the detail. I hope this is a matter of Tony Khan understanding, hey, I feel like this needs a bit more to get the most out of this big win for Hangman. Let's keep it going, and let's do it in Revolution, where you have a really cool callback to 2 years prior. But we'll find out. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out. Another thing we'll find out is how stiff a competition AEW is for WWE. And during yesterday's Q2 financial call, Vince McMahon was asked if he saw AEW as competition, to which Vince responded. These transcripts are via Wrestling Inc. So what Vince had to say, well, it certainly is not a situation where rising tides, because that was when Ted Turner was coming after us with all of Time Warner's assets as well. That was a different situation. AEW is where they are. I don't really know what their plans are. All I know is what our plans are. I don't consider them competition in the way that I would consider WCW back in the day. Not anywhere near as close to that. And I'm not so sure what their investments are as far as their talent is concerned, but perhaps we can give them some more.
Is he saying he wants to cut some people again so that AEW can sign them?
Yeah, is that like some, kind of backhanded way of saying, well, they're taking the people that we don't want anymore?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's what that is. Perhaps we can give them some more. I don't know. Nick Khan, WWE president, added his 2 cents as well, saying this is this. Yeah, okay, great. I'm glad that you put this part in here.
Yeah.
I think the way we always look at these situations, it's sort of like a horse race where the horse has blinders on. We're looking straight ahead at our lane and making sure that we stay in the front of the pack. At the same time, everything is our competition. I should have phrased that. Everything is our competition. Someone had a line a couple of weeks ago that we all chuckled at and agreed with. Sleep is our competition, right? That he said, right? Sleep is our competition. I mean, the joke writes itself when you're watching Monday Night Raw and it's 11 o'clock at night.
I know.
And you're basically falling asleep.
Yeah. Kind of a weird statement to make.
It is. It's silly, but I mean, you understand where they're coming. I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. I mean, he continues. I mean, there's a follow up to that particular quote. He also said, if it was up to us, people could be up 24 hours a day watching content from different content providers, hopefully including ours. So we don't look at any organization particularly as competition. Yet we see everything as competitive with what we're trying to do in terms of eyeballs.
So, yeah, look, in one significant way, at least, AEW totally is competition, obviously, because they're competing over talent. If WWE sees talent that they like and they get signed to AEW, well, their competitor just signed them, so you can't. Mm-hmm. So you can't then compete with that person. You can't protect, but at the same time, WWE is miles ahead financially because they've had half a century to get there.
Yeah.
And they are making billion-dollar deals. And so I can understand the concept that they don't consider AEW competition in the way WCW was competition.
Also, WCW, whether it was a stated goal or otherwise, if they put WWE out of business, so be it,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And vice versa. Whereas AEW seemingly has no desire to put, or the means to put WWE out of business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Vince wouldn't mind if AEW was out of business, but I don't think he's going to tailor his business plan to make that happen.
Right. They are. Yeah. Back in the day, WCW was under the umbrella of Turner. And so it's kind of a reverse situation now where WWE is the big billion-dollar media company. And, but when you look at it, so it's not like WWE would have any reason to panic if, the total viewership aligned. The total viewership as a percentage is not that far apart these days. It's what, like a 1.1 versus 1.8 or maybe 2 on a good day. So yeah, they've doubled them up on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, because SmackDown usually gets around 2 million.
Yeah.
But AEW's only been around
between the demo is much tighter.
It's way tighter. Yeah. I mean, the percentage is much, you're right. But there seems to be plenty of money to go around these days. With the way the content providers work, it's like I have no doubt that once AEW's TV contract is coming up, they're going to get a lot more money from Turner or whoever is willing to pay a ton more money. And it wouldn't shock me if Raw and SmackDown got even more money than they did on this TV deal. It wouldn't surprise me if they got the same money because, but obviously WWE wants to do better than AEW in the ratings to secure themselves better TV deals. But I think Vince probably sees that as not the highest of priorities, given that they're looking to monetize all this other stuff as well, like which they reference in the thing, the A&E biography stuff does really well. All their other stuff, seemingly there is an audience for it, and they can monetize that quite a bit. But I mean, so Vince McMahon is probably right in that he doesn't see AEW as competition in the same way as WCW was competition. But obviously there's competition there.
Yeah, totally. Let's talk about this. So we got a bit of synchronicity, some serendipity happening on Dynamite, on Fight for the Fallen this week, where we got a Domino's Pizzas ad running during a picture-in-picture commercial break while Nick Gage is taking a pizza cutter to Chris Jericho's bloody forehead. Turns out Domino's is not terribly happy about it, though. They issued a statement to Front Office Sports, which read, quote, "We share the concerns expressed about this incident and the content of this TV-14 rated program and are assessing our advertising presence on it going forward." So Pabst Blue Ribbon saw an opening here, and they struck while the iron was hot. So they tweeted in response to Front Office Sports article about Domino's considering pulling their ad from AEW, saying, quote, "Yo, AEW on TNT, let us get those spots."
Also an interesting, so we'll get into what Nick Gage had to say about this in a second, but just an interesting aside of Pabst Blue Ribbon. PBR really does seem to be positioning themselves as like the beer of pro wrestling, at least this side of it. Because what's his face? Matt Cardona posted a picture on his Instagram after winning the GCW championship with a PBR in hand. I'm sure this goes back further than that. I don't know what the origin of Pabst Blue Ribbon and all that.
Did they have a problem with that John Cena design?
They did, yes. Yes, that's right. They did. Maybe there's
that was obviously inspired by a PBR can.
Yeah. Nick Gage tweeted an apology of sorts to Domino's while quote tweeting TMZ's coverage of the match, saying, quote, "I tried to cut Jericho's scalp off. My bad, TMZ. It is what it is. But yeah, thanks AEW. And thanks all MDK gang members. We showed them what's up. And also, sorry, Domino's. Didn't mean to offend you. Guess I'm too ultra violent for TV. Oh, well, all my new fans come and see me at GCW. It's MDK all effing day." Stream of consciousness from Nick Gage.
Yep.
Unmatched in wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Domino's, relax, dude. If you capture the zeitgeist in this kind of manner, if your social media people are savvy, if your marketing people are savvy, you run with it.
Exactly.
You run with it.
You know, people talking about that ad running against that spot in the picture-in-picture got way more people talking about Domino's than, like, you get up your ad budget like 2-3-fold. You won't get this much conversation about Domino's pizza from that as you would from this spot, this moment of synchronicity.
Like you're Domino's. You're Domino's. Your third-ranked your third-tier pizza at best. You know, like you need this. You really need this. So stop being such spoil sports here.
Yes. Let's talk Impact Wrestling. We did a co-stream last night of the show. Fudge show.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Kicked off. Tag match. Jay White and maybe new Bullet Club recruit Chris Bay taking on the Good Brothers.
Jay White says
they
not
lost.
Not so fast.
Good Brothers won. Yeah. And later on, Jay White and Chris Bay had a conversation backstage where Jay White's like, "Oh, slow down with you being a Bullet Club. You know, we have high standards. What I saw tonight didn't meet those standards, but he's going to give him another chance to prove his worth to be in Bullet Club."
Absolutely. Also, Taylor Wilde defeated Caleb with a K to further her feud with Tennille Dashwood. Yeah. Falaba, No Way, and Finjuice defeated Ace Austin, Madman Fulton, Rohit Raju, and Shera.
There was a fun bit where Kenny and Don Callis come out for a promo. They're interrupted by Sami Callihan. He wants a piece of Kenny again. And so there's going to be a 6-man tag match, I believe, next week. It's going to be Kenny and the Good Brothers versus Sammy.
Wasn't it just like two partners of his?
It's Sammy. It's why is this escaping me? It's gonna be Sammy. It's Ed Edwards and somebody else. Is the match? They announced what the match was by the end of the show.
Oh, okay.
Why am I completely just
Saban?
no? Here, go ahead.
Okay,
just carry on. I'll look into it.
We had Rich Swann and Willie Mack making their case for a tag team title shot by beating Diener and Rhino. So we'll see if this Violent by Design feud continues. And then Moose.
Kazarian, that's right. Kazarian came out.
Oh, it was Elite Hunter. It was
Came
Elite
out
Hunter.
and started beating up Kenny.
That's
so
correct.
That's the match. That's
Yeah.
right.
And then Moose. That's right, because he said it's going to be two partners of my choosing, and you'll never see it coming. And then it happened immediately.
Yeah.
And then Moose defeated Chris Sabin. Do your Chris Sabin, Larson. There you go. That's where he's from. The thumb. It's like the between the thumb and the palm.
Yeah, it's a fun match, and then Moose won, and then Chris Sabin attacked Moose after the match. Like,
sleeve well enough.
Take your L. Take your L, Chris Sabin. Move on.
Don't bother with a rubber match. You're gonna get killed.
Just move on, Chris.
You got
Sabin.
lucky
move
once. Be happy with that.
Yep. No official SmackDown preview yet, though. There's talk of a potential return tonight.
Yes, there is. We'll leave that one. If you guys want to research that one, it's out there. Potential return. Yeah, there's no preview. What the heck? Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Yeah, like I said, we're going to be recapping that tonight after the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later. There's no preview. What's going on?
No preview. I know.
No
nothing
preview.
on their Twitter, nothing on their website. Bye,
Nothing
everybody.
on the website.